I'd like to call to order the January 10th, 2024 meeting of the Sebastian City Council. You could rise, please, for a moment of silence, and then we're going to have a Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Nunn. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have the roll call, please, Jeanette?
Mayor Dodd?
Here.
Vice Mayor Dixon? Here. Councilmember Jones is excused tonight. Councilmember McPartlin is excused tonight, and Councilmember Nunn.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm hooking my hearing aids up to the T-coil so I can hear what's said in here. All right, thank you. For those of you who've been to a lot of the meetings, you'll notice there's a little bit of a change here this evening. We have at the dais up here with us the three charter officers, the city attorney, city manager, and city clerk with the council. In the future, in our meetings, when items are brought up, the individual department heads that represent the area that has that item on our agenda will be coming to the table and presenting that item to the council. So we'll be spending a lot more time listening to the department heads. And I think that's a good thing because I think the citizens need to hear, they're the ones that do the work. So it's a good thing for the citizens to hear that. You'll notice this evening when the camera zooms in on one of them while they're speaking, there's no nameplate there. I think that's going to be fixed. So from now on, there'll be a nameplate there so you even recognize who you're listening to when that takes place. This is a good arrangement, I think, for us to have that take place like this. Agenda modifications. I've been asked to pull item 13F and G from the agenda this evening. Does anyone else have any agenda modifications they'd like to make? Okay. Now we're going to item 6, proclamations, awards, and brief announcements. Before we get started, the first item on this agenda is for me to do an invitation to our Sebastian 100 celebration. So I would like to officially invite everybody in the city to celebrate 100 years of the city of Sebastian. Now that actual celebration day is not until December, but we're going to celebrate that all year at an event that will occur each month. There's going to be an event every month. We have a Sebastian 100 magazine. These are hot off the press. They just got them today, I believe. This magazine lays out the entire history of the city. It has some great articles in it. We have commemorative coins, a challenge coin that you can keep. They're going to be on sale. You can currently purchase those either in the city at the clerk's office, in the lobby, or we'll have those available at the booths, at the Centennial booth at each of the events that take place. We're going to have a Centennial booth at each event with information about the Centennial, and we're going to invite a different organization to share that booth with us at each event. So we'll have, I think at this first event, it's going to be either the VFW or or so forth. They're going to share that booth with us and provide information about their services. So we'll roll through that. But I want to give some kudos out to some people because it's been a lot of work. This whole process has been a lot of work. We have three of our staff members, Brian and Jeanette Williams and Kathy, that are the permanent members of this task force. They're the ones that are actually making all this happen by ordering all the merchandise and keeping track of it and make it work. But we had a committee, a task force that was made up of a lot of volunteers. And I'd kind of like to give you some information on who they were because they did an awful lot of this effort. Beth Mitchell, Richard O'Connor, Brittany Medcory, I think I said that right, Kara Irwin, Michelle Morris, Marcus Gingras, Patty Williams, and Sally Mayo. Those individuals did a lot of work with this group in putting this stuff together. They wrote a lot of the articles that were in the Sebastian 100 magazine, looked up the history, did a lot of stuff like that as we went through this process. You only turn 100 once, so we need to celebrate it. And the city intends to do that, I believe, as we move forward with that. So starting off with tonight, we're going to have some special presentations here in a couple seconds to individuals. The city went out to the grade schools, I think 5 different grade schools, and asked students to color in a centennial-oriented coloring book. And we have awards tonight for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade winners in those coloring contests. We also went out for an essay contest, and we have awards tonight for the winners of the essay contest. I think that'll be something that's going to be really nice as we do it. So I'm going to come down and do this stuff, and Kathy's going to help me pass it out. These kids have worked very hard, and I think we'll owe them a round of applause when we get an opportunity to do that when we come forward. So I'm going to come down there now and do this. Okay, can I have, coming up front, our 3rd grade winners, which is, what did I do with my 3rd grade winner? I left it upstairs, up there. Okay, 3rd grade winners. The first place winner is Kiana Hilbert. Is she here? All right, 2nd place is Xander Hanez. No? Those are actually the pictures that were done, the award. And Alicia Thomas, those are the 3rd grade award winners. Any of those here this evening? Okay, now they will win prizes. The first place winner is going to get a 1-year family membership in the Environmental Learning Center. Their picture is going to be featured, and it's already in our Sebastian 100 magazine. They're going to get a copy of our Centennial Souvenir magazine and a Centennial pin. The 2nd and 3rd place winners are going to get a $20 gift card to Paradise Ice Cream Shop. Good place to get ice cream. There are pictures in the magazine plus a certificate and a Centennial pin. Okay, now we have 4th grade winners. I'll give you that one back. I've got theirs now. Okay, the first place in the 4th grade category is Sabrina Nicaro. She here? Come up. Your parents can, if you'd like to come up, you can come up also if you'd like to. The parents can. We want to get a picture with the child and the parents. Now Sabrina's winning, once again, a 1-year family membership in the Environmental Learning Center. Her picture's already in the magazine. This is her picture, her colored picture. Come on up here so she can, Kathy's going to hand you your gifts. Don't go away. Oh, you want to get a camera? Okay. Come around up front. Yeah. Okay, when your mother gets up here, let's take this and hold it like that. Okay. And the city photographer, he's going to take some pictures. You want to come up with your daughter? You want to come up? All right, congratulations. All right, Lucas Karen, is he here? Lucas? No? Peyton Catanzo. All right. Peyton is a 3rd place winner. She'll get a $20 gift card to Paradise Ice Cream. Her picture's in the Centennial magazine. That's her picture. Is that her picture? No. There's her picture in Centennial magazine. Yeah. Why don't you hold this like that? All right. Do you want a picture with him? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, our 5th grade coloring contest winners. The first place is Richard Dawsey. You guys want to come up with him? Come on up. Come on up. There's your certificate. This is Richard's picture. Now let's get a picture for you with your parents. Got it? Do you want to get in a picture? Okay. Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Kathy. Go, you go. All right, 2nd place is Alicia Thomas. Is she here? No? 3rd place is Jermaine Williams. No? Okay, we will get the information and the awards to those students. Now, the essay contest. We went out to Sebastian River high school students and asked if they would write a themed essay, and the theme was what makes Sebastian special. Okay, I think on the back table are some copies of the essay. It's in the magazine, but there are some copies if you want to pick one up on the back table. It's a very well-written essay. And the first place is Haley Frazier. Now, Haley's going to win, her essay is published in the Sebastian 100 magazine, a copy of the Centennial magazine, a $100 Amazon gift card, first place certificate, and a souvenir Centennial pin. Okay. All right, now, if you want to come up, if you want to get a picture. Thank you.
Good job.
All right, 2nd place winner in the essay contest is Kathy Peters. How are you? Good. There's the, I think your parents are coming up, but we'll get one together when they get here. Thank you, guys. Kathy, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Thank you. All right, DeVray Tate. Is he here? Yes, okay. This is the 3rd place winner. That's that. You guys want to come up? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, now this, just so you guys know, these kids that just came up here are what makes Sebastian a special place. When I first moved here, I thought it was all old people like me. But it turns out there's a lot of young people here, and they're very active in the community, and they do a really good job in the community. And I think it's very nice that we can solicit and get this type of response to this stuff when we do it as a city. I also would like to talk about the Boys and Girls Club. This isn't part of the 100-year centennial, but the Boys and Girls Club have provided a couple of awards that I think are very important. Is Tonley Edwards here? No? Yes. Hi. Now this young lady is the Youth of the Year for the Sebastian Boys and Girls Club. So it's an honor on her part to be involved in that. There you go. Get a picture. Thank you. Okay, and Jayla Brown is the junior youth of the year in the Sebastian Club, in the Sebastian Boys and Girls Club. Thank you. Now, one last thing about the Centennial. We have a drop cloth that's going to be behind the stage in all the Centennial events that occur this year. That drop cloth was designed by students from Sebastian Charter Junior High, Sebastian Middle School, and Storm Grove Middle School. They were invited, and they actually designed and produced the drop cloth that's going to be on the stage behind all the events that occur this year at the Centennial stuff. So it's I think it's a really nice thing that we're going to have something from the kids at the schools there all the time as we go through that. Okay. I don't know, is Ruth here? Ruth Callahan? She didn't show up? Well, I'm going to do this anyway. It almost breaks my heart because the Natural Resources Board is something that I'm very close to personally. I believe strongly in their mission. And one of the members that I felt was very critical to getting that stuff done, Ruth Callahan, has resigned from the Natural Resources Board, and I had a certificate for her. She was a very active and a very good member of that group, and she provided Sebastian a lot of good service. And so I was going to turn down her resignation, but I was told I couldn't do that. So this is for Ruth, and we'll get this to her. That's it. Okay, we'll give the ladies a couple seconds to move those tables. And you ready for the brief announcements?
Sure.
Okay. Vice Mayor's going to read brief announcements while they move the table. That'll be good.
Let them know if they want a copy of the essay they're setting on the clerk's desk. If they want a copy of the essay it's setting on the clerk's desk, the copies weren't in the back. They're right
Okay,
there.
yeah.
Take family. If you're looking for a copy of the essays, they're right there on their desk.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so we have two very busy weeks ahead. So some of our announcements. The Indian River County Veterans Service Office is now open at the Municipal Complex, Monday through Friday from 9 to 4, closed daily from noon to 1, by appointment only, and their number is 772-226-1145. This Friday night, January 12th, the Chamber of Commerce concert in the park at Riverview Park will be held from 5:30 to 8 p.m. with the Bobby Owen Band playing. This Saturday, January 13th, the Craft Club of Sebastian will be at Riverview Park from 10 to 3. Those are local artisans and crafts folks from our local area, so be sure to check them out. This Monday, just a reminder, is Martin Luther King Day, so City Hall will be closed. Friday, January 19th, is Florida Arbor Day, and there will be a volunteer tree planting at Tulip Drive Pond from 12 to 2. Next Saturday, January 20th, is the annual Sebastian Riverfront Fine Arts and Music Festival at Riverview Park from 10 to 5. Definitely one of my favorites. And Sunday, January 21st, it continues, and that is from 10 to 4. And let's hope, I don't know, it's always windy. It's always windy. So let's hope it's not, for their sake. And that is all.
Does anyone else have any announcements they'd like to make? No? Okay, now the January 20th event is our first Centennial event, so come to see us at the Centennial event also on that. We're going to go to public input here in a second. A couple of changes you might notice. There's a countdown clock now that's here on the dais. That countdown clock is going to be handled by the city clerk or city manager. I'm not sure which one they're going to take the duty. So when you come up and introduce yourself, it'll start. If for some reason during your comments there is a point of order by a council member which would interrupt your speaking time, that'll be paused so it won't impact your time, right? Yeah. Okay. So, and then until we deal with the point of order, then it'll be restarted. You can finish your time on the topic that you want to talk about. Once again, public input is for items that are not currently on the agenda. So we are now open for public input. Anyone from the public wants to input? Yeah, come ahead, please.
Gentlemen and ladies, first, Happy New Year to everybody. I'm Cindy Giese. I live at 108 Woodstock Way in Sebastian, proudly for 10 years now. I'm not here to complain. I'm going to make it a point this year to come up with suggestions. I was pleased to see so much interest in planning and zoning this go-round. Qualified, good people. I have an idea, though. I know you're having Board of Adjustment. You're going to do that yourselves this evening. In my prior communities, I've seen that was a separate volunteer group made up of citizens who were qualified and interested and wanted to get a start in public service. And very often after citizens were on BOA, they went to P&Z. I'd like you to consider making BOA a volunteer group to include some of these interested citizens, and so they can get experience being on the dais, running meetings, and especially in things like the Sunshine Law. Another idea for our 100th anniversary. I had previously been involved with sister cities in my little town in South Florida, and we were sister cities with a city in Venezuela, back in the day when Venezuela was good about that stuff, and then in a Shakespearean village in England. And their officers came to our little town. We took them on boat rides and took them to the beach, and then we went over to England or Venezuela, whatever, and saw their culture and enjoyed that. So if you know what that is, or if you Google it and look at sister cities, it's really an extraordinary program, and it gets people involved who live here or from maybe out of this country. So if you'd like any information on that, Cindy Giese, you can probably ask Jeanette for my number. She's got it memorized and crossed off a few times. So I'd be glad to help with something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to come forward?
Good evening. Damian Gilliams, 1623 US 1. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor, City Council members that were re-elected to serve our community. I just want to let you know that I plan on participating as much as possible in my community. I've been here 40 years. I'm happy to see the clock because over the years, people have been cheated at a time by rudely interruptions where members would take up their time and nobody would keep track of the clock. So there are a few things that I'd like to touch base on. Since I had a no contact order here in the community, I was not allowed to come to City Hall for close to 3 years. For what reason, I could not understand. It was a victimless crime, having a legal meeting here in City Hall that I was entitled to have, and I will share that with the community. I want to make sure this community understands exactly what took place now that I'm allowed to speak. My attorney said I could not speak until it was completely over, and as of Friday, my case is over, and I've done my time for this community, and I am honored to do the time for this community. Because when they find out exactly what transpired here, when I got elected, and it took me 10 years to get elected, and the 19th Circuit District took me out with family. And I'm going to share that with this community, and they understand who I'm talking about. I want to thank you for doubling my stormwater fees. I want to thank you for the waste management fees. I get half the service for twice the amount of money. And I intend to be here at every meeting to share my my feelings about how I feel about this community and how unfair it is. I want to share with this community about the $9 million garage that they built over there at the airport, when I specifically tried to share it with this community, that Mr. Paul, oh, by the way, where's Paul? Anybody see Paul? No. I want to thank Mr. McPartlin for doing his job and making sure that we got back on track. Same with the city attorney, something I wanted to do from day one. It takes a lot of guts to show up here and share my feelings with this community. And I am not going to apologize. I am not. I'm going to participate in a professional manner, just like everybody else has the opportunity to do here. You may not agree. We can respectfully disagree, but we can be courteous to one another. And I look forward twice a month being here with you guys and sharing these meetings with you. And I will not be intimidated. I can tell you that I was intimidated before. I was told not to have these meetings, and the charter says we were entitled to these meetings, one a month. And that was taken away from us when we tried to have the meeting here. And I want to just share real quickly with this community on Friday when I was in front of Judge Lynn, and how him and Lev Evans, the prosecutor, and we have it on videotape and we're going to share it with this community, how I fired, me and two other council members fired the charter officers of this community, which is not true. You can go back. We have the videotape. There was a reorganization at that meeting to replace you, Mr. Mayor, because you never gave your co-council members a chance to speak. And your nephew, and you know David Dodd.
I have a point of order.
There you go.
I have a point of order.
Go ahead.
Plaza clock. I just want to warn you that if you want to make accusations against someone who is not on this dais, that you are tempting civil liability. And I want to make sure you understand that you're doing that. And I'm not going to sit here and allow you to slander my nephew's name, who was not involved in any of this. The criminal culpability for what you did is your problem. Trying to slander other people. You may continue.
I am not here to slander anybody. I just want the community to know that your nephew never disclosed that he worked for the state prosecutor's office, like the judge and his wife worked for the prosecutor's office. That was never disclosed at the trial. And I'm going to share that with this community, Mr. Mayor. I am not, and again, I repeat, I am not taking anybody down here. I'm just stating the facts. That your nephew works for the state attorney's office, and it was never disclosed.
Ms. Gilliam.
That's all.
Ms.
You're
Gilliam,
going to interrupt me again? Have a good day, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
You too. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody understands that the grievances that were just presented are nonsensical and make no thing. Anyone else from the public would like to address the council? Is there anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you. We are going to now recess the city council meeting and convene the Board of Adjustment meeting. The first item is approval of minutes for the November 15, 2023 BOA meeting. What's the council's?
Mr. Mayor, recommend approval of the minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I neglected to say this at the beginning of the meeting. I better say it now. Based on our charter, and I'm going to talk about this under my matters. Based on our charter, any item that is not approved 3-0 tonight is considered to be not approved. Okay? Because our charter requires 3 physical votes, even though we have a quorum of 3 council members. So just so any of you guys know, if we don't do a 3-0 vote tonight, then it's considered not approved. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the meeting. Okay, we're on now to, oh God, what's my name? 8B, Madam City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a variance request. by Arthur and Billy Mance in regards to Lot 2, Block 558, Sebastian Highlands Subdivision, Unit 16, located at 105 Kildare Avenue, requesting a variance from Section 54-2-5.23D5 of the Land Development Code to construct a carport that will encroach at a maximum 3 feet into the 10-foot side yard setback. It will be presented by our staff and the applicant.
Okay, Dory, would you like to present?
Yeah, the next thing would be that the clerk swears in anybody who's
Oh,
going
is
to
this,
testify.
this is a public hearing, or is this a?
Quasi-judicial.
Quasi-judicial, I'm sorry. Anyone who's going to present evidence to the city council this evening pertaining to this issue, would you please rise and have the clerk swear you in? That includes people in the audience who might do this.
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and the factual representation which you're about to give or present during this public hearing will be truthful and accurate? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, board members, has anyone any ex parte communications that they'd like to report on this item?
No.
Hearing none. City clerk's done the swearing in. Applicant can make your presentation. Madam, would you like to come forward?
Okay. What we're doing is we're replacing a carport that was destroyed during the 2005 hurricanes. We're putting it back in the same place. Evidently, originally, it wasn't put where it was supposed to, 10 feet. We're just trying to get that done.
Okay. All right. Dory, would you like to do the staff's presentation?
Thank you, Council, Mayor.
Your mic.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilman. This is in regards to many of our previous variances when houses were built in the early 70s, 80s, and not a lot of detail and specific information on surveys were required. We're finding that in future years we're having to clean this up formally for the property owner. And this is a scenario where in 1984 the house permit came in. Exhibit F does show that the house at that time was not built with a garage, and shortly after they came in, the Manses came in to pull a permit for a carport. The house was built, and the plans came in on a correct survey showing angled sides. The front property line is shorter than the rear property line, the sides are angled. When the carport permit came in, it came on a hand-drawn plot plan with a rectangle plot of property shown, so it didn't have the accurate side yard setbacks. If this was able to be rebuilt shortly after the 2005 hurricanes, we probably would have required this variance, but because of the time that has gone by, we would have considered it grandfathered in. At this point, staff doesn't have that authority to sign off on that permit with the encroachment without a formal variance. On page, I had it marked here, on page 28, I think that Exhibit D accurately depicts it shows the encroachment into the side yard setback. It'll be a 3-foot encroachment, and then minimally declines back to the required 10-foot setback for that carport. The permit is in. We just are waiting for if the variance can be granted. Staff feels that this does meet all of the criteria that is required for you to grant the variance, and staff recommends approval.
Okay. Does anyone on the council or the board, excuse me, have any questions for either the applicant or the staff?
No.
No? None?
I'll ask the question. I noticed looking at the pictures, and I believe as I understand it, reading the documentation, even though the house looks like the way it was designed, it was built with a garage, but from my understanding, from the beginning, there was never a garage built in this house.
Correct, and that's Exhibit F on page, the very last exhibit, page 35. And we had highlighted where where you would think would be the garage was actually a family room.
Okay.
So this, granting the variance and allowing them to put the carport will actually bring them closer to compliance of current zoning district regulations of having a one-car garage.
And the carport will be on that small pad on the left side of the house?
Correct.
In that picture? Okay.
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. You can sit down again.
Okay, thank you.
Now I'm going to open this up for anyone from the meeting who would like to address the board who is in favor of this request. All right. Anyone who is opposed to this request? Hearing none. Since no one came up, the applicant and staff probably neither one have any need to respond to what was said, so we'll bypass those steps, okay? Is there, the staff, do you have an opportunity now to summarize anything you'd like to say? Okay. All right, board members, deliberation, and I'll hear a motion if someone has one.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and recommend this variance request. It makes sense. It was already there. At this point, they're really just replacing what was already approved. Obviously, it's a little out of what normally would be approved if it was built today, but it isn't being built today as far as the carport and the pad itself. So I recommend approval.
Yes, I mean, I even see the picture that has, from the former, so
Is that a
I
second?
move approval.
Is that a second?
Second, sorry. It's been a long day.
We have a motion and a second. Any more comments about the motion? I think we can do this with a voice vote. Madam Attorney? I can do this with a voice vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 3-0. Okay, we're on to item C, 8C.
Thank you, Mayor. This is another quasi-judicial variance request by Sembler Marina Partners Limited in regards to an additional proposed overwater restaurant to be located at 1660 Indian River Drive, that's Squid Lips and Marina, and which structure is located within a flood hazard area and requires a building permit, is requesting relief from Florida Building Code Section 1612.4, whereby the minimum elevation requirement for a building located in the coastal high hazard flood zone is base flood elevation plus 1 foot to the lowest horizontal member of an existing structure that is substantially improved to the bottom of the lowest horizontal member of the existing structure is plus 7.3 feet, and the minimum requirement is 0.80 feet. I believe the applicant is here and staff from the building department to present.
All right, thank you. Board members, are there any ex parte communications related to this item?
No.
No.
All right. Anyone who's going to address the board related to this item, please stand and let the clerk swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and the factual representation which you're about to give or present during this public hearing will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a presentation by the applicant?
You have to redo it, don't you? You have to redo it. I'm sorry. I think she's got to redo the swearing in.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not giving factual information on the attorney of record.
Okay.
I'm just repeating what's in the
she's
application.
an attorney. She was sworn in when she graduated from law school.
And been sworn out a lot since then. Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Kim Rosanka. I'm with the law firm of Lacey Lyons Rosanka in Rockledge, Florida. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Sembler Marina Partners. With me is Mr. Underrill. If he needs to give testimony, he'll be sworn in at that time. The application is pretty self-explanatory. You signed the variance application back in May of 2021. I was not here at that time. This was a slab that was built in 1991. Took time to build. When it started to be built, they found out the flood elevation had changed by the Florida Building Code. The applicant came to you 2 years ago, received a variance. The measurement was off due to no fault of anyone, so we're back here asking for a modification of the variance so the building can open essentially. It's built. I'm sure you've seen it. It's ready to be opened. It doesn't impact anything from the city other than to allow this to be opened up. So if you have any questions about the application, I'm sure your building official is very, very well versed in this. He's been out there a lot. He's been actually very helpful. I was here last year with your prior city manager and city attorney on an issue, and staff has been great working on this project. So I'd like to thank staff as well. If there's any questions that I can answer for you, but I think your building official knows the best. And if there's any specific things, Mr. Underhill is here to answer them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Wayne, would you like to?
Yes, so as was just stated, we came before and had this variance proceeding in May of 2021. So basically, there is a code requirement that the lowest horizontal structural member of a structure located in a V zone has to be at base flood elevation plus 1 foot. So this structure precedes the current code. It was built to code at the time it was built. but now it is lower than what it should be. And so we came here for the variance, and at the time, based on best available information, we thought the lowest horizontal member was 7.6, where it should be 8. And then subsequently, the job started. We got a FEMA elevation certificate, which is required after the slab is poured. And the elevation certificate says that the lowest horizontal member was at plus 7.3. So it's about a 4-inch difference. We can't really explain it, but we have to have our records match the FEMA elevation certificate. So that's why we're here, just basically to try to clean up the record to make sure that all the numbers match.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions for either the staff or the applicant? No?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
No, okay. Let me open this up to anyone from the floor who would like to speak in favor of this request. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this request? Okay, since no one, is there anyone in Zoom?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, now's an opportunity for the applicant to respond to anything that came up during those issues. Since no one addressed us, then I believe the applicant probably is doing to do that. Same thing with the staff. We're now ready for the board member deliberations. I remember this conversation from 21 or so when it came out, and I don't see any reason why we can't approve this. It doesn't appear to me like there's any real dangerous issues related to anything that's going on here. So we're really trying to keep the paperwork straight, is what I understand, if I understand that correct. The as-bills came in, there was a little bit of different elevation.
Right. The documentation from the engineers that are involved in this project have, recertified it, based on the new information. Yeah. So nothing really changed.
Nothing really changes. Okay. Anyone else on the board?
No.
No. All right, board, I'll hear a motion on this.
A motion to approve the variance.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any comments? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 3-0. We're on to the consent agenda. I'd like to pull item C from the consent agenda. Are there any other items from the consent agenda that needs to be pulled?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve items A, B, D, and E on the consent agenda.
Okay, I'll second that. And there is, let me see.
No money.
There is no money in that, so we can do that with a voice vote. All in favor of approving items A, B, D, and E, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay, same sign. All right, okay, motion passes 3-0. The reason I pulled item C was mechanical. Basically, what we're doing in that is modifying slightly the procedures under which the council operates. Oh, I actually forgot to close the Board of Adjustment meeting and open the council meeting, so now we're a council meeting. And so what's been added is the ability for the council to hold workshops at times other than starting at 5 o'clock in the evening. So we're going to be able now legally to hold workshops during the day. We actually had some workshops a couple of years ago during the day, and under our rules, we weren't really allowed to do that. So this allows us to do that. It's just one of those mechanical things that we have to do. So I just want to let everyone know that there's not anything nefarious going on here. We're just trying to set that up so we can hold the workshops during the day if we need to do that. So I'll make a motion to approve item C.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign, nay. Motion passes. Committee reports. We're on to Citizens Budget Review Committee. That's item 10A. I believe that we have 2 openings, and Amber Serta and Dave Newhart both asked to be reappointed.
Let's do it.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve reappointment of Amber Serta and Dave Newhart to the Citizens Budget Review Advisory Board.
Second.
okay, second. And since they're the only 2 applicants for 2 positions, they're appointed. Item B is Plain Zoning Commission. We have an opening. It's currently, that particular opening is currently held by Linda Kitchens. Linda was originally appointed to the P&Z Council in 2022, so she's only been on for roughly a year or so. So in that case, I would like to move that we reappoint Linda Kitchens to her current position.
I second that. I mean, we have some great applicants here,
Yeah.
and I hope they'll continue being the positions they're in, but I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So any other comments? No?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, all right. So since she was the only nominee, then she's appointed to that, to continue in her position. All right, announcement about boards and committees. There are 2 regular member and 1 alternate member openings in our Natural Resources Board. For those of you out there who aren't familiar with this stuff, Natural Resources Board is a spearhead for the Sustainable Sebastian Initiative. They're the people that are trying to get this thing to work. And so we really need qualified, when I say qualified, people who are interested in and somewhat versed in the natural resources community, native plants and stuff like that, because that's what they're trying to do, to apply for that board. We've made some good progress. You'll see Tulip Pond receive native Florida plantings coming about here in a week or so. That's the result of the Natural Resources Board doing this stuff. So we need to try to get some some qualified people to apply for that. So if you're interested, please apply. They do a lot of good work when they go through the process. There are no public hearings. There's no unfinished business, so we're now on to new business, item A.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we'll have Mr. Sabo here to answer any specific questions, but this item is requesting your approval to execute an FDOT public transportation grant agreement for the design of taxiway golf. This taxiway will be built in the place of the old runway 13-31 at the airport, which is currently not in use. It hasn't been in use in quite a few years. And this is just further expanding the airport property and trying to increase the operations on that property as well. So we request approval of this item for the FDOT grant, which is 80%, and the city will match it with 20% funding for this design.
All right.
Did you want me to read the resolution title?
Please, read the resolution title.
Thank you. Approval of resolution number R-24-01, a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a public transportation grant agreement, PTGA, with the Florida Department of Transportation for funding of FM 45-1509-1-9401, design taxiway golf at the Sebastian Municipal Airport, providing for conflict severability, scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Okay, anyone on the council have any comments related to this item? Questions for the staff?
Nope. Very happy that it's getting done.
Yes, I toured the airport over the holiday break, and I saw for sure with my eyes it needs it. So yes, I'm all for it.
Is that a motion?
Motion to approve. Let's do it.
Second that motion.
Yeah, I have to get the 2 of these guys to give me motions. It's the only
sorry.
ones up here that can do it.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Are there any comments from the public on this? Seeing none. Any comments from Zoom?
No, at this time.
Okay. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Dodd?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, 13B is approval to enter into a 1-year lease agreement with Connection Air LLC for a single office space in the Sebastian Municipal Airport Terminal Building. That's a 15 by 8 foot office space, is what that turns out to be. Okay, so Brian, would you like to?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this request is coming before you all, as mentioned previously, for a 15-foot by 8-foot office space at the terminal building in the airport. And this is basically to allow the company to operate nightly cargo consolidation flights throughout Florida and on-demand charters. And they're looking for a centrally located airport to base their operations out of. So with that, we request approval. If you have any specific questions, Mr. Sabo is available.
Okay, my only question was the apron parking space. It says something about securing office space and apron parking for flight operations. Are they gonna actually be, transferring cargo? Because it sounds like that's what they do, is they do short-term movements of products from place to place. So they're gonna be transferring cargo and stuff out there?
None of that will be taking place at the Sebastian Airport. This will strictly be for basically a base of operations. Okay. We have available space on the aprons where they will just park during the daytime unless there's a charter operation. But all of their cargo movements take place from other airports into the Orlando airport where they're consolidated and move on. Anything that comes back to Sebastian will be empty.
Okay, good. All right, sounds good. All right, any comments from the public on this item? Hearing none. Council?
I do have one last question.
Yes.
Mr. Dodd, Mayor. So is that $200 a month, does that work out to be market rental rates for that space?
Yes, we increased the space from what was previously $150 a month to bring it up to market value.
Okay, awesome. That's all I have. I make a motion to approve the lease.
Second.
All right, you have a motion and a second. Have to have a voice vote on this, please.
Vice Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
And Mayor Dodd?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. 13C.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 13C is a request to purchase an air compressor and a jackhammer. Currently, our staff, when they go out on site and they are working to do some concrete removals, busting up of concrete, those items, they're using a jackhammer and a generator to operate that. And this will allow them to be more efficient. It'll allow them to conduct larger projects, which we have some larger concrete sidewalk projects coming on board in the near future. And it'll help them be more efficient and get the job done quicker when taking on these projects. So with this, we request approval. If you have specific questions, Karen is available for those.
Any questions from the council?
No.
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 No. Just a pretty standard thing that needs to be purchased to replace an old one. So I'm going to move approval.
Okay. Second.
Moving
All right.
forward. Let's do
Any
this.
comments from the public? Okay. Need a roll call, please.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor Dodd?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. 13D, Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 13D is is for the purchase of a Ford F-350 with a 9-foot utility bed and a 2,000-pound folding crane that will be used by our sign shop to assist with the maintenance and upkeep of city signage. I just want to bring to your attention that you will notice that the item was budgeted for $75,000. Initially, when we started getting price estimates for this specific vehicle, we were looking closer in the range of $95,000 to $100,000 this current fiscal year. We were able to locate a truck that meets what we need and the subsequent equipment with that at a price of $79,478. So we are over budget, approximately $4,478. In the previous item, the jackhammer, we came in under budget about $7,000, so we are going to use those funds in that project to cover the overage within this purchase of this truck. So I just want to make sure you all were aware of that this was over budget, but we were under budget with the jackhammer. And Ms. Miller is once again available if you have specific questions.
Any questions from the council?
No, I was going to say, I think on past purchases, last couple of meetings, we've been under budget as well. So I think we're fine. Can't expect it always to fall under budget, unfortunately.
No. And technically, between the two, we're still under by 3.
Yep,
So.
exactly. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of this item.
Second.
A motion and a second. Anyone from the public would like to address this? Not seeing none. Let's have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor Dodd?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, this is item E, which is a pour-in-place surface at the Creative Playground. Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this item, back in October, you all approved the new design of a more ADA accessible, inclusive playground at Creative Playground at Barber Street Sports Complex. And with that, we had discussions in regards to ensuring improved access from the entryway to the playground to the ramp of the playground structure and also to the ADA swing sets. In my discussions with you all, I had identified that we were going to install a concrete sidewalk that would suffice and ensure that accessibility. However, when I started discussions with our contractor on this, it was identified that we didn't include a fall zone around the musical elements which were on the ground. And typically, most of the time, fall zones are at elevated surfaces, but with this being a playground structure, we did have fall zones around the musical elements. So with that, and looking at our options, our best option for this, well, we kind of have two options. We can mulch the entire area, or we can install a pour-in-place material that is adequate and meets the requirements of the fall zone. So based on that, we took it to Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee to have them look at two options that were presented to us on December 18th, and they did choose to go with option number 2. Option number 2 includes the pour-in-place surface to go from the entrance to the playground up to the ramp area of the actual playground surface, includes the musical elements, and also includes the area around the ADA swings. So I recommend that we also go with option number 2 from a staffing level, so that it includes that ADA swing area to make it more inclusive as well. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you all have, but once again, it was presented to Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, and they did recommend approval of option number 2 in the amount of $31,303.75.
Any comments from the council?
Yes, I just have to say I'm very glad that this was caught. This is great, obviously, from an ADA standpoint. It's also great, though, for moms with very young children. When mine were small, like 7 and 8 years ago, we were always at Friendship Park, which was actually right back there behind the police station. I don't know when it disappeared. I guess when we were living at the ball fields for a while. But that was the best surface when you had like 18-month-olds, you know, new walkers, 14 months old, and like a 3-year-old who, you know, kind of struggle in either the sand or the mulch. This is a very solid, like rubber, flat surface for little kids to run around. When they fall, it'll skid their knees, but it's definitely more forgiving and easier for them to maneuver. And so not only that, but like if you have, you know, a baby in a stroller and like a 2 or 3-year-old you're trying to chase after, it's easier for them to maneuver. And then like you said with ADA, with wheelchairs that you're trying to push around, they can get around all of these musical surfaces and apparatuses. And also, like you said, now it incorporates all of the swings too. So I'm very glad that this was caught and it's expanded. So this is great for everybody.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. So I'm very excited about this. I've been talking to Brian about the ADA inclusiveness of our playgrounds for the past 3 years, and I'm very happy that Creative Playground is not only getting the playground equipment that it is, but you know, mulch is ADA compatible. But trust me, when you're pushing a wheelchair around with a kid in it and it's heavy, this surface is going to serve much better for all in our neighborhoods. As you can hear, younger kids and things are going to still be able to play on the playground. It'll protect them a little more, but this gives the children that are not able to walk, that are wheelchairs, and all those strollers a better surface to get up onto the ramp, to get to the ADA swings. So I'm very excited about this, and I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve purchase and installation of that pour-in-place for Creative Playground.
Second.
Okay, anyone from the public like to address this item? No? We have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call.
Councilmember Nunn,
Yes.
Mayor Dodd,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Dixon.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, we're now on to item number H, approval of administrative services with Coastal Wear LLC for North County Law Enforcement Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is an item in which we did receive fine grant funding as a 50-50 match on this. This request tonight is for some grant administration services, which will include modifying the eastern 6 slips to accommodate the marine law enforcement vessels. We're working in conjunction with the Sheriff's Office, FWC, Indian River Fire and Rescue, and our own Marine Patrol unit. This CSA will issue work authorization under, with Coastal Wide LLC to authorize, to request a permit exemption from DEP, design and prepare engineered drawings for installation of security gate, security cameras, security lighting, boat lift, and boat slip roof, including necessary piles, water service, electric service, and provide bid and construction administration services. And I know we do have Mr. and Ms. Boning here from Coastal Wide LLC, if you have any specific questions of them, and we do request approval of this item tonight.
Okay, this is, just for clarification, the fine grant will actually pay for the work, and then we're sharing that cost with the other agencies. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we will split the cost 50-50. This specifically portion here, I know it's identified in the agenda, and I apologize I didn't say this during my discussion. It's identified as coming out of CRA. However, it's not coming out of CRA. This funding for this portion here will come specifically out of general fund, and then it will kind of act as, we will be, receive funds from the other agencies that will cover the design portion and our 50-50 match for the construction portion.
Okay. But Coastal Wide LLC is not going to actually do construction management. They're only doing the planning process and the permitting process.
They're doing the planning, permitting, and design for the project.
Okay, and then you'll pick a construction process when you get to that point.
Yes, we will go out to bid and pick a company to do the construction.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I wasn't 100% clear on that, but okay, I'm fine with this. Any other comments, members of the council?
No.
No?
Nope, I'm glad this is moving forward. I think it's a great thing to put all of our emergency services, marine units on one dock in the city, close to where problems happen. So that's good.
Okay. Anyone from the public like to address this item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve grant administration services from Coastal Wide LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll need a roll call on this, please.
Mayor Dodd?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're on to GH. And as a matter of full disclosure, at the request of the council, I was on the evaluating committee for these proposals, for the RFP responses. So I don't feel like, unless someone thinks it is, that should disqualify me from voting on this. And if there's anyone who feels like that does disqualify me for voting on this, then I would like to table this item until the next meeting. No? I mean, it doesn't disqualify me?
No, legally, no, unless you had a financial interest in it.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
You don't, do you?
No.
No, you're fine.
No financial interest. Okay, so we're going to move forward with it. Brian, who's going to present this? You or Karen or who? Because Ken's not here, so.
Yeah, I'll gladly discuss it. So
Karen's smiling. We probably should let her do it.
Karen, come on up. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So this is obviously we've had numerous discussions over the course of the previous months in regards to development of a strategic plan for the city. I think it's something that is needed, and we need to develop a plan that will kind of lead us down a pathway of where you want to see staff go, and we'll get input from our residents, our stakeholders within the community. We'll have open meetings on this. And as the mayor mentioned, he was on the selection committee for this with Karen Miller and myself. And with the RFP, we received 4 submittals. And based on our evaluation of each of those 4 firms, we are recommending Saviak Consulting be chosen as the firm to lead us into our strategic planning as we go forward. So with that, I ask council, I recommend to council that we approve Saviak Consulting for strategic planning services in the amount of $73,500.
Now, I will want to say this as we go forward, that there's a note at the bottom of this that Saviak's consulting cost is roughly $175 an hour. And we had four good responses to the RFP. And we actually then looked at copies of sample plans that were done by 2 of those entities and settled on Saviak. The one thing that we'll probably do as we move into this quickly and they interview with council, because their first step is to get through the interview process with each council member. And I can imagine most of you are going to be the same as I am. They're proposing a set number of public interactions. I personally would like to see more public interactions than that, and I anticipate that that's probably going to come from other members of the council. So they may come back with some additional costs that'll be associated with doing that, but it'll be worth every penny that they do charge in that process to do that at their rate. It was a good presentation, and they have a lot of experience in actually doing strategic plans.
What made them stand out to you?
The quality of their presentation and the fact that it's 3 individual companies. I hate to say that way, but there are 3 individual single proprietor type organizations, and they work together. And you went back and looked at their references and looked at the quality of their product. It was good. The product was easy to understand. It was presented in such a way that the public will be able to interact with it. So I felt like that, and I think the rest of the committee also felt that kicked them over the hill on that. So
Okay.
you know.
And it wasn't a split decision. All 3 of you rated them as your highest choice.
That's
so
good.
Yeah.
that made it easy. There was
Yeah.
no split decision there. So.
This is, quite frankly, in my opinion, 2024, of the items we're going to deal with in 2024, this is the most important, because everything that we do, everything that we've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years, haven't been doing under the guise of a strategic plan. We've noticed the problems. Okay, so without the strategic plan being done and being done correctly, no matter what we do, we're still not addressing the things that the people on the council and the voters and the residents really want us to address. And the way to find it out is to put together a strategic plan. I think it's important that we do that. You know, we're going to do a lot of stuff on stormwater. We're going to do a lot of stuff on many things this year, but the strategic plan actually needs to sit above all that when we get through the process. So it's a very important thing for us. So, any other comments?
No.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve hiring Saviak for the strategic plan consulting.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion. Any public input on this? All right. Let's have a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Dixon,
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodd.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to J, which is the municipal elections agreement. And Brian, would you like to do that, or the clerk?
So this item is an agreement with Supervisor Leslie Swan, Indian River County Supervisor of Elections. You'll notice that the rate that we are charged for the 2024 election is less than we were charged in 2023, and that is because it is in conjunction with the state and federal election. So that rate will be $1 per registered voter. At the close of 2023, there were 19,570 voters registered within our area, and this number will change up or down. Supposedly, we expect it to go up. So that number, like I said, will change as we go forward, but we are requesting approval of the agreement with Supervisor Swan tonight.
Okay. Any other comment? Any questions?
No.
How about a motion?
Make a motion to accept the municipal elections agreement approval.
Second. Any public comment? None? All in favor, no, excuse me. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor Dodd?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, 2024 2024 council meeting dates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, in looking at the election schedule and trying to ensure that we can get 2 meetings per month in, one of the things that in discussions with staff, when we go down to only having 1 meeting in a month, it makes it really difficult on them at times because we have long breaks in between the meetings. So, Jeanette and myself sat down and tried to work out a meeting schedule that gets as many meetings in as we can, working around the election schedule this year, and also working around some holidays. So with that, you'll see that we have moved 6 different meeting dates. We did have to move 1 meeting date to a Monday in November. You'll notice that meeting date was moved from November 6th to November 4th. That's a result of the election being held on the 5th, and we prefer to have the meeting the day before the election rather than the day after. And then also, we moved a couple dates around to ensure that we had got 2 meetings in December as well. So with that, if you have any specific questions, we can answer those, but we would request approval of the council meeting dates for 2024.
I don't have any problem with that. I'll move approval.
Yeah. I mean, if we need to move
We can always
or
change the
change or
meeting.
cancel down the road, we can always do that at that time.
Yeah.
So, second, third.
Fourth.
I told Brian, I said it worked because I was going to miss due to spring break, and now I'll make it, so.
Wait a minute, teachers don't go on spring break.
This teacher does.
Okay, I'll approve. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign, motion passes. All right, city attorney matters.
Good evening. What I would like is to request that we set a work session before the next council meeting and advertise that so that we can discuss those procedural matters and training. So I'd like to request approval for that and recommendation to consider codification of the resolution on the procedural matters as well.
Okay, would you like to do that prior to the next meeting?
Yes,
or
sir. Like at 5 o'clock possibly.
5
That way,
o'clock.
maybe we have a little time for a break in between if needed, or if we take the whole hour, then we would take the
Okay,
whole hour.
that's fine. Okay. Does anyone have any problem with that? We're going to assume that Fred and Bob are okay with that, since they're not here.
They're not complaining, so
Anyone have any problem with that?
that
No.
sounds good.
Okay, so, all right, we don't need to vote on that, just a consensus that we'll do it, right?
That's fine.
Okay. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
So, Brian, that means that the next meeting start at 5 o'clock. Have to advertise it that way, okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay, city manager matters.
Thank you, sir. I just have one item. On Monday, January 8th, FDOT was on location at our airport doing a runway and grounds condition inspection. And based on my discussions today with Mr. Sabo, our airport passed with flying colors, got a lot of positive comments on the condition. So I just want to recognize Mr. Jeff Sabo, who is our airport manager, and also Patrick and Ron, who handle the daily maintenance of our airport property, for doing such a great job. So they do a great job out there, and it's obviously shown by the results of the inspection from Monday.
Good.
And that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk,
Nothing tonight.
never. I moved you in a different chair and you still don't talk. Vice Mayor Dixon.
A couple things. I wanted to thank Mr. Sabo for my airport tour. I learned so much. We had a great conversation, and just really enjoyed it. So thank you very much. I did have a question. Is there an age requirement to join the Natural Resources Board?
Age requirement?
Yes. Like, you just have to be 18?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
those
We've got some
18 and up.
bright young people coming out of
18
my high
and up,
school
you would
who
think?
might.
I'm going to assume that, yeah, but I can look that up.
Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to know.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be voter age.
I would assume, but I just wanted to check on
Okay,
that.
that makes sense.
And then I just wanted to put out there, just because we're constantly talking about these Barb Snow events, that the Craft Club of Sebastian will be, in the park this weekend. And all of these people, I'm there every time because my mom is there and my kids are there helping her set up. And then we walk around and check out everybody's booths. So I just wanted to remind everybody that these are all people who live here and are making things with their hands, whether it's their homemade goods, there's a young girl there now who makes fresh lemonade and it is killer. And it's just like all homemade, handmade, like fishing village crafts and coastal decor and useful things in your home that are really cheap. It's not like cheap junk tchotchkes that are in some of these other shows.
Yeah.
So just wanted to put that out there. This is the local one in the park. That's all. Thank
right.
you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Okay, I have one item. The fact that we found that we needed 3 votes to approve when we only had 3 council members available made me think that I'd kind of like to get on the next agenda a discussion about whether we want to think about a charter modification for that particular item. And I'm also interested because of the cost. I mean, we spend $70,000 to $80,000, I think, on off-year elections. I'd like to kind of think about the possibility of looking at modifying, and I know people are going to think I'm trying to do something nasty here, but I'm not, trying to modify the council terms to 4 years so that we can do away with the off-year elections. There's a way to do that that doesn't necessitate a gigantic impact. It just means that some people will serve an extra year before they have to run for re-election if it passes, and if we can do an agenda, if we can do a referendum on modifying the charter for the 24 election, then we can work that out through the process. There's not much sense in us paying what was it, $3 a, and it's going to go up and up and up. It's not much sense in us doing that. And the state is moving about as quickly as they can to throw term limits at everybody in the world. And even though right now there's no indication that they're going to add term limits to the municipal officials on this piece of legislation that's aiming at county commissioners, there was an attempt to do that already, and it may come right back. And it may be too late for us to look at changing the charter for term durations if that passes. It just depends on how they word that legislation. It might be we're stuck with two-year terms. And I will tell everybody out there that a brand new person that's elected to the council and hasn't had the opportunity to spend a lot of time on places like the P&G and some stuff like that, their first year, they're dead in the water. I mean, it takes them at least that first year to learn the stuff they need to learn. And so if we have people elected that can only serve two-year terms, we may get 2 effective years out of them as council members, and that's really not. And like I'm saying, that the way it was worked out one time, the last time it was talked about from a charter review point is that the people who were elected in 23 would possibly serve an additional year before they have to rerun for election, as opposed to, it's basically the way it would work out. So it's something that could be done. It's not a very negative thing. And for people out there who think I'm trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes and get an additional 2 years, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to work the best for the city. So I'd like to have a meeting with the full council and discuss whether we want to try to move forward with some of these things. Do you have any comments from staff on that?
Just that we did look into this at your request, and I have looked into that, and I'd be prepared to bring that forward if that's the consensus, that, we would need to do a special election or put it on at the next election regularly scheduled.
Yeah. What's the time frame for putting something on the 24 election? You know?
It would be about August
Okay,
that we would
so-
have to turn that language
Yeah.
into Supervisor Swan.
Yeah. And the council can do that without chartering a committee to do it. We don't have to have an independent committee to do it. The council can actually do it.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Brian, did you have something you wanted to?
I don't.
No? Okay. All right, that's all I've got. And is there a consensus to add that to the agenda for the next?
I was going to say, there's many cities that have 3- and 4-year terms of all the people. We're kind of unusual at 2 years compared to many places.
Yeah, okay. So there is a consensus.
You're
to add it.
basically constantly
Okay, all right.
running, yeah.
So let's add that to the next one. Bob's not here, Fred's not here, okay. Councilmember Nunn.
Yeah, I would like to say, well, thank you. I think that's a great item to bring up. It would save the city money, and trust me, that everybody thinks they know what a council member does until you get up here and you realize it wasn't anything like you thought it was. You have no power and a lot of work. So it's okay. That's what we signed up for, to get things done, take care of things. One thing I did learn here recently is if you live in a neighborhood and you've got that rental house next to you that they moved out and they left their couch on the side of the street. So you're like, what do I do with this? Do I call code enforcement? What do I do? Do I drag it to my yard and call waste management? Well, I found out today that if you've got that couch at that rental house or whatever sitting next to you, you can call waste management for a pickup at that house. You don't have to do it. It doesn't count against your pickups. But so you don't have to leave and ignore and be annoyed by that couch sitting there. Somebody called me 3 months it was sitting there, and they're like, what do I do with it? So you can call waste management on behalf of that house. So you don't have to let that couch sit there. Code enforcement, unfortunately, is just going to go serve a notice to the homeowner. Well, if the homeowner doesn't live there, how long before they get it? So this actually takes care of the problem and cleans up our community a little bit. But that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else for the good of the order? Then we are adjourned.